Right, so getting together today on a call and kind of reviewing over some of the awesomeness that BlockBase is kind of bringing to the EOSIO ecosystem. And sitting here with Ricardo and Diago from BlockBase. I want to go ahead and jump into some of the fun and progress we've made from the technical side.
As you already know, we've been testing our software for the past, I don't know, I think 2 months, almost 2 months. We've been running sidechain now. So we've been doing a lot of tests, some stability tests, some stress tests, mainly stability tests, and we, together with all the people, all the providers that are working with us right now, we've been aiming to make the software easier to use and something that people can just leave it running and be a provider. That's what we're aiming for, and
it's been working pretty well.
And the community has been very helpful for us because you all give us suggestions and we work towards improving our software.
We first launched, was it kind of a basic node? I don't remember what the categories are, and then kind of worked our way up. And
yeah, we've been working through our, mainly doing more complex tests through the way, yeah.
There's like 3 levels of nodes, right?
Yes, exactly. So we have the validator nodes that are, as the name says, they're just validating the network that is currently running. So they're not storing anything at all. They're just there as not a spectator, but they're helping validate the current sidechain. Then we have the history nodes, and those nodes will actually store all the history of the sidechain. And the third type is the full node, and that node also stores the database that is being built by the sidechain. So those are the 3 types, and we've been going through all of them, and eventually we're also going to test the full nodes. That's a test we haven't done yet, but together with all you guys, we're aiming to do that test.
Yeah, and it's like I say, it's pretty slick from the install side. I mean, you install your prereqs, get it up and running, and yeah, it just kind of goes and does. I mean, I guess the most complex part's working with Ricardo to test and make sure that everything's up and running with all the different databases and services. But yeah, you fire it up and let it rock and roll. Got a nice little Swagger interface to be able to go and check on services and everything. So
yeah, and the sidechain that we're currently running is connected to our sandbox that people can access from our website and just play around with it and see the data going inside the chain and all that.
Disclaimer, obviously we're still having some fun with it and getting things.
Yes.
I know some people are firing up their own side chains and having
yeah, we've had some people trying to do their own side chains, and from what we saw, it worked for them too. It was going all well, so yeah, it's exciting.
What we are doing is we are the first clients of the network. So BlockBase is the first client of the network. It's paying the providers with BBT to be there and run the network. So we are issuing a sidechain for ourselves, explaining how the system works, using the system, in fact, and the providers get paid BBT for providing the network. And the idea here is bootstrapping the network, and then anyone, like we said, that bootstraps a sidechain will have the providers there to provide that sidechain too. So the system is ready for people to jump in if they want.
Yeah, and it seems to be kind of a newer way of just, I don't want to say distributing the tokens, but circulating them into supply versus the airdrop is feed them through providers or do whatever. Because I mean, they're going to sell them, with the expectation they're going to sell them to pay and cover costs and whatnot, and allow it the supply to naturally percolate its way out. So, yeah, like I say, we'll see how it all goes. Glad to be making a few BBT day, something like that, right? I've stacked a decent amount, just kind of even in the testing. Thanks, guys. So looking forward to running some more nodes, right? Because it's not even so much about one node operator, one node. It's more providing the infrastructure. So multiple people can, like myself, who has just a server farm to throw at it. You can have multiple nodes if the side chain, I guess, allows it. Those types of things, right?
Yeah, and in the future, we obviously want to have more sidechains. So each node will probably be providing to multiple sidechains. Right now, we
Correct. Well, and that's interesting. One node can actually run for multiple chains. You don't have to have.
Yes.
I will probably have an army of nodes for all the different chains, but really, as long as you have the resources and everything, even the additional side chains, assuming your settings are set this way, you would join in and be able to contribute to their services as well.
Yes.
Without having to, spin up more servers and do it all over.
Yeah, you just need one account and one node to provide for multiple sidechains, as long as your machine is able to
handle it. Your machine and your account, right? Because it does use a little bit of EOS resources to process with ticks or whatever they are on chain.
What I envision for that is what you were saying like 2 or 3 months ago, like in a joke about the node wars, right? So if there's demand for BlockBase, then there will be supply, right? And people who run more nodes, and also people who stake more BBT on the sidechains, because providers do have to stake BBT in order to provide a sidechain. The sidechain we requested, we don't ask for any stake by the providers, or it's a minimal stake, because we're still testing and we'll still sometimes stopping the sidechain, starting another. Sometimes
something breaks and somebody gets ejected and loses their stake, right?
Yeah. But the stake they lose at the moment is very, very minimal. So that's fair. But when the software is like bulletproof and it just works, then it's a question of managing the hardware and having it available. And then what makes sense is having demand is the people that request a sidechain may actually request a large stake, because they're saying, I want you to provide my sidechain, so you have to have like skin in the game. You have to put stake there that you will lose if you don't provide the sidechain accordingly. And from our point of view, that makes total sense. And then what could happen is like people who believe in the technology or want to be a whale or something like that will like provide an army of nodes and with a lot of stake, and we'll just have more participation on the sidechains. Because when you spin up a sidechain, you request a sidechain. If you ask for 4 providers and 8 appear, so there will be random selection that will favor the nodes that have higher stake there. So it incentivizes people to stake more and have more skin in the game, because they will also have a higher probability of participating in the sidechain. So from a dynamics, it makes a lot of sense. And it's one thing I wanted to comment. I have this like in my as a thought for the last few days. So BlockBase is probably the first system that we know of that runs multiple sidechains to a main chain. And like Polkadot has the same idea. I just found about it like last week. And they're like 7th on CoinMarketCap at the moment or something like that, which is crazy. And they use the same concept of having sidechains for scalability, which is exactly what we're aiming for. But in our case, it's just for database storage. But it makes total sense to do that, because if you've got only one chain, eventually you'll have you'll like hit a wall of scalability, because you can only fit a certain amount of content in a blockchain at a given time. You can make it as fast as possible. It will have a cap, right?
It's linear. People forget that it's very, very linear. It only gets bigger.
Yeah, exactly. So having sidechains makes total sense. That was one of our goals from the start. And as you can also talk more about it, what makes me really proud at the moment is that we're starting to stress test the network. That's really, really nice. So when you start worrying about stress testing the network, it says a lot about what's there, right? Because, okay, it's for the most part, like 90% of cases, 95% of cases, it just works. You just fire up and it runs. And then you can start stress testing the network.
Yeah,
which makes me really
there's
proud.
been a lot of community engagement. I mean, I've seen people from all around. I mean, and it's not even just the normal everyday players that are, like me. I've run everything under the sun. But, it's been developers that are interested. I mean, it's been, I don't know, speculators, I guess you'd call them, just interested in the project. But
and that's why at the moment we're trying to see the limits of our network and of our node software, and that's what we're working on. Just improving performance, improving how much data you can send at a time. Just doing all those kinds of improvements that will be really, really important for developers using the technology.
Absolutely. So, and of course, nobody likes giving timelines because they try to hold to them. But any tentative? I know we're still kind of in testing phase. I mean, heck, people are spinning up their own side chains, and we're signing blocks. I guess somebody really wanted to use it, they could use it today, right? But
if someone wants to use it, I'd say they can use it starting right now. So. Obviously, we're still doing tests on our side, but from our point of view, it's usable technology. We've already have some test apps using the sidechain that is currently running. So that's something that we can say. It's people who want to use it right now, they can use it. But we're still working on improving stability and performance of the technology.
So adoption is what we're looking for now, and an awareness of the technology. The technology is there, and it really works. It's not like marketing says one thing, and when you run the technology, it just farts and dies. No, it actually works.
I'm sure we'll loop back around whenever we finish up all the rest of the testing, and maybe even when we bring on some of those other clients, we're really starting to put the technology to use and show how powerful it is.
Let's see how much time it takes, but we're looking forward for exactly that.
Everybody be sure to check out BlockBase and see what kind of awesomeness we got going on. We'll throw some links in the comments, and we'll chat with y'all later.
Thank you for having us. Yes.
Thank you, Michael.